And the first one that we're going to talk about is Guide, which is a team-centric approach to smarter self-service. So please help me in welcoming Teresa Hahn.
Hi, everyone. Hope you're having a great day at Showcase so far today. My name is Teresa Hahn, and I'm one of our product marketing directors at Zendesk.
And I'm Danny Duong. I run the support team at Discord.
So today we're very excited to talk to you all about taking a team-centric approach to smarter self-service and why this is something you should really be prioritizing for your business. So we'll talk through a couple different best practices and how Discord has implemented these to create the best self-service experience for their customers. So first, let's talk about how self-service continues to be the customer-preferred method for help. There was a recent CCW poll that showed 81% of customers say they value fast, convenient experiences over highly personalized ones. And that's often exactly what can be achieved through self-service when it's done right. Now, as businesses, you all know this, and that's exactly why you continue to prioritize creating a better self-service experience. It's the #2 strategic priority for contact center leaders. And it's exactly because when self-service is working correctly, then it creates this fast, effective, convenient experience exactly like your customers are asking you for. But the key to self-service delivering that fast and easy experience is it needs to do what it promises. It must actually help customers resolve their questions very quickly. And this is really critical because when self-service doesn't work, it can totally backfire and infuriate your customers because it feels like such a waste of time. And customers really pay attention to how you value their time. That's clear as the ease of resolution is actually the #1 factor impacting CSAT. And so even though you're prioritizing self-service, the challenge for you all is how can you ensure your self-service experience continues to meet customer demands as they're evolving so quickly, like we've been talking about throughout today. So we'll talk next about how technology and automation can help you with this challenge and really ensure you give your customers the best self-service experience you can. So to do that, Danny will tell you a bit more about Discord and their approach to self-service.
Awesome. Thank you, Teresa. For those of you that don't know Discord, Discord is a customer messaging platform similar to platforms such as Slack, WhatsApp, and iMessage. We are 100% a consumer application that supports our end users and support our network of developing partners that include the likes of Spotify and Xbox. What started as a platform to bring together people and create positive interactions through video games has evolved way beyond that. Whether you are a Pokemon Go trainer, a movie buff, a foodie, there is a community with people that share your interests and hobbies not more than a click away. And how we think of support at Discord, we believe that genuine user interactions and engagement is paramount to our business. With 250 million registered users and 300% year-over-year growth, we were forced to find ways to scale our support in an effective way of scaling. Nobody has a limited budget, and throwing bodies at a problem is not an effective way of scaling. And if you do have a limited budget, I would love to talk to you how you got your executive team to sign off on that, because that almost never happens. Right? So just because the business grows exponentially doesn't mean your team should as well. So how do we ensure users can get in touch with us when and where they need to at scale? And really, this may sound cliche, but it really boils down to work smarter and not harder. If I could turn back the hands of time and give myself a pro tip of running a support team, I would say invest in self-service and automation. Even if your backlog is on fire or you're digging yourself out of a hole, hit the pause button and take that hit on the chin. And I promise you the upfront investment is going to pay off. It's been very indispensable for the team at Discord to capture the knowledge and make it easily accessible for users to help themselves, freeing up time so we can focus it on knowledge management and more impactful work instead of just burning tickets.
All right, so let's dive into 2 key self-service best practices that Discord has used and that you can all put into practice in your organizations as well. The first is on the discoverability of content. So this really means ensuring that knowledge is presented wherever and whenever it can be to best benefit your customers. And ultimately that it's very, very easy to find and very easy to engage with. The second best practice is evolving content over time. So this means maintaining an agile and iterative approach with your team to develop content that's consistently up to date and useful. So let's talk first about that first best practice. So we know that customers want to help themselves. And if you have the right knowledge available for them to quickly do this, they often have that best experience with you. But the challenge is they have to be able to find that knowledge. You can have the best content in the world, but if your customers and your agents can't find it, it's totally useless. So some customers know to go straight to your knowledge base, but others may not realize that the answer they're looking for, the experience they want, is right there available through self-service. They're still used to going to other channels like email or chat to try to interact directly with you, not knowing there's a better option out there. And so in those cases, it's important to more proactively serve up knowledge to ensure that customers get that instant answer and the experience they want if it's in your knowledge base. So one way to do this is to leverage the channels where they're already interacting with you directly through our AI product, AnswerBot. AnswerBot is built on a global deep learning model and comes out of the box, and it interprets customer questions to then recommend Help Center articles with the answer. And it provides this immediate 24/7 support on all text-based channels. So channels like email, chat, web widget, and your mobile apps with the mobile SDKs, or any channel you'd like through the APIs. So Danny, can you tell us more about your experience implementing AnswerBot?
Yeah, definitely. So AnswerBot has been great, but it did take some optimization for our team. We found that treating AnswerBot like a real agent is key. Don't just turn it on and then just leave it and let it run its course. But like a real agent, it is extremely important to track CSAT and also QC what's working and what's not using the data that's available in Zendesk. For us, by iterating AnswerBot, we were able to get the same level of quality that we expect from our real agents.
And what's really been the impact for your business by doing this?
It's been a huge impact. Actually, almost half of our total tickets are touched by AnswerBot, and about 40% of those users who've engaged with articles have self-solved their questions. So let's put it this way. We want to be able to invest in our teams, and if our team is doing things that automation can replace, it's a no-brainer to really invest in it.
Have you also found that AnswerBot works best in certain areas for your business?
Yes, so AnswerBot, especially in our case at Discord, AnswerBot is best suited for straightforward questions. Like for us, it's things that people write in to us about bug reports, accounts, and general spec questions. And since our team doesn't have to invest any time or energy in handling those tickets, it allows our team to focus on more complex issues such as like trust and safety, for instance.
We'll tell you a little more if we could go to the next slide.
Technical difficulties.
Just one slide back now. All right, so we just talked about this aspect of proactively serving up knowledge on these interaction channels. So let's also talk about what the Help Center experience looks like when customers do go directly to your Help Center. And so in this case, you really want that experience to be streamlined with just the relevant information for that customer. And that means just because your company is complex, like you have multiple brands, products, or services, that shouldn't be forced on your customer. The ideal experience is instead streamlined, where you've structured your knowledge so it's easy to just find the relevant information for that customer. And so that often means separating it by brands, products, services, even audiences. What's worked best to segment your content at Discord?
So we have three fundamentally different audiences, right? So being a consumer application, it doesn't make sense for us to showcase the highly technical guides and updates to our general user base. So what we did was we segmented each of our help centers to that user base. For the first one, for instance, we have, for our end users, we share content around feature releases, how-to guides, and known issues. For the developer help center, the content that it serves is often technical and related to utilization of our APIs and integrating our SDK. And then the last one, which is 100% private and only accessible to our agents, is where we share internal documentation and processes for our teams to reference.
All right, so let's talk about the second best practice. So we know that your business is constantly evolving, and so that means the information that customers need from you needs to evolve too. And so it's important to embrace an agile and iterative approach to knowledge so you can keep content healthy and up to date. And our benchmark data really shows that this approach ends up with the best self-service results. But we know this can be overwhelming, especially if you don't have the right process or tools to make it easy to do across your team. So how have you guys thought about evolving Discord's content over time?
I can definitely tell you it's evolved. But similar to Facebook pages and whatnot, companies that you look at, if you see a page that is outdated, nobody really trusts it or wants to spend time on it, right? So have a team dedicated to content creation and polish. For us, prior to launch, we work really closely with our product teams on documentation to ensure everything launched is well captured. And if there's a pain point that we know our end users are going to run into, we make sure to highlight it in those articles for visibility so that those users avoid writing into us and we're just going to macro, just send them the same answer every single time. Once you release something, and this is the importance of the creation and polish, is we put our ears to the ground and we iterate as we see our users' needs evolve. And then we also adopt the see something, say something motto. If users are consistently writing in about something, it needs an article to address this, just so that we are deflecting all of those tickets. This does require a tight-knit team with deep expertise and empowered to make changes on their own, which is why having the added bandwidth of something like AnswerBot really vital and impactful for us.
Awesome. Those are definitely great approaches to the process to evolve content over time. And there's also technology to really help you make this easier. So I wanted to talk through a few different capabilities in our guide product that make this a better process to effectively develop content with your team, even for folks outside of your content team. So first is the knowledge capture app. This is a tool that surfaces knowledge to agents directly in the support interface. But it's also a place for them to contribute directly to content in the support interface. So they can add content, they can also share feedback on existing content. There's also team publishing, and these are approval and content workflows that allow you to get a variety of people involved in the process of developing content. You can assign out this work with the right permissions so that everything can still come back to the right folks for review before everything gets published. There's also article events, and article events help you provide ownership for existing content so that folks are then reminded on a recurring basis to ensure that the content is consistent and up to date. And this really ensures it's always accurate and the best it can be for your business. So we've talked about getting this process in place and leveraging tools to get your team working effectively to develop content, but what about understanding where to even have your team focus to start? What content's really needed, or what content that exists needs to be improved? So a couple features to highlight here. First, our AI-powered feature Content Queues helps to analyze what customers are asking in support to then understand if you have the right knowledge to answer those questions. And so it helps you understand where you're totally missing content, where your best content is, and if it can be further improved, or if you have suboptimal content and it should be archived or improved to be better. There's also quantitative metrics through our Zendesk benchmark comparing you to other companies, as well as Explore, our analytics product, and Google Analytics. All tools that give you insights into how users are engaging with your content and what you can do to improve. So how have you guys used data to improve self-service at Discord?
Yeah, so basically we are a gaming application first, so we always end up gamifying and incentivizing our teams with the content creation strategy and encourage friendly competition with each other to see whose articles are resonating the most with our user base. Measuring data points such as views, performance, and self-service ratios are really simple and straightforward with the analytics that are available through self-service. And best of all, it is at your fingertips and built into Zendesk.
All right, so we'll wrap up this session and talk about just a little summary of what we've covered so far today. So as your business evolves and as customer preferences are evolving and continuing to change so rapidly, so does your self-service content and how it's presented to your customers to really give them a good experience. So having good knowledge management practices in place can definitely be key in supporting that.
Yeah, just remember, it's not scary and doesn't have to be complicated. So remember two things. Discoverability, ensure that the knowledge is readily available whenever and wherever your users and agents need it. For Discord, that meant thinking through our Help Center experience and implementing AnswerBot to use self-service proactively. And lastly is evolving content over time, keeping content up to date with an engaged team and leverage technology and automation for the heavy lifting.
All right, and next up, Danny is going to stay on stage with us and talk through how Discord has used community forums in our Gather product alongside my coworker, Benjamin Kaiser. Thanks, Danny.
Thanks, Teresa.
I'm just going to jump in since this is my slide. How you doing, Danny?
I'm good. How are you?
So you want to talk through any of these with me? So you're part of this next one at 4:15.
Yes.
Yeah, so you just wanted to just hang out on stage for a half an
Yeah,
hour?
I thought we'd do a dance or
and
something
welcome
too.
to Ben. Yeah, so just wanted to announce to everybody, 4:15, these two gentlemen are going to talk through this little thing called Gather.
Big thing called Gather.
Ah,
yes.
it
Very
is a big thing. We learned about it this morning.
Did.
All right, so we're excited about that. And then right after you all, we're going to have one of our sponsors come out, Ruth Zive and Joe Wang from Upwork. Ruth is from Ada, and Joe is from Upwork, and they're going to talk about automation first, which is a really nice segue after you
perfect.
all. And then finally, before we end our day with Adam Rapon, we have Tiffany Apchinsky, who's going to talk about the next wave of contact center culture. Sounds like a good afternoon.
Yes.
All right, you guys ready to take this?
Let's
Yeah.
go.
Okay.
Talk about Gather.
All right, gather away.
Hello, everybody. It's been a long day. We're very excited about Gather, and I'm personally excited about it because support is, of course, one-to-one kind of support. I work on Guide and Gather. Guide is one-to-many, where you have one author writing an article that a lot of people will consume. And then Gather is the next leg in that stool, which is many-to-many support. I'm pleased to be on stage with Danny Duong, who you already know, works on a fantastic product called Discord with 250 million users. Danny, why don't you introduce yourself a bit more?
Well, if you were here for the past 15 minutes, hi, I'm Danny again. But this is a really good subject for me because Discord was built around communities, and empowering your communities is a really underrated part of support. So this is going to be a great topic.
What is it about community that's new and different? Well, I think what's new and different today as opposed to the past is your customers are already talking to each other. And as we saw early in the keynote today, not only are they talking to each other outside of the sphere that you might be aware of, they're also getting experiences related to your company and through third parties that you may not be aware of and a support team can't even imagine. So customers have a context that you really can't understand unless you're in a conversation with them. And one of the things that Gather lets you do is bring those customers in, be super transparent about what you're doing, get their feedback, and really learn more about their context. So let's start with Discord. What is when you go on the journey for the many-to-many support, third leg of that stool, what are the things that come up?
Yeah, so actually, just because our business model is at a grand scale, right? We could have never provided a good customer support experience without Gather, and with a huge user base of 250 million active users, our support community is, like I said, is underrated and indispensable asset to both our support team and also our product teams as well. So our highly passionate and engaged user base was begging for a way to communicate directly with us outside of the traditional support channels. And then for us to have a support community, for them to provide feedback, express their needs, and voice their opinions, it's allowed us to really align our roadmap with user desires and keep a pulse on a rapidly growing user base. And all of that is really impossible without being able to capture it with our support community.
Yeah, it's I think an incredible asset, and of course, it's not always clear exactly why it's an asset or how to get there, and that's what we're going to talk through a little bit more specifically now. So the first thing I already briefly mentioned, I think Danny also described it a bit, which is transparency with your customers. They could be users of software, they could be buyers of a widget that you make, whatever it is, they're discussing your product with each other. And if you're there to also speak with them, it really opens up this level of transparency that they're really craving. And if you do open that door, you'll start to get information and perspective that you never had and can really help you do better. The second thing is really the idea that you can move to a level of scale that was not achievable by doing one-to-one support, and frankly is a little bit more engaging and engaged than just writing articles. I'm a firm believer in writing articles. Believe me, I work on Guide and I think it's an amazing tool. But you also need that human contact, human touch with those conversations to really tease out what those problems are or to find new solutions. And there's a ton of creativity that you can uncover when you start to engage with customers this way. And then the kind of third value that we see, before we get to the specific use case that Discord is going to share with us, is the coverage of topics, the wide breadth of things that you will start to be able to cover through with knowledge by learning about it and writing about it potentially as an article, but also with customers helping each other directly where you don't need to be involved and they're actually helping each other. So those are the sort of the three big benefit areas that you get from community for that investment that you make in opening it up and really allowing that conversation to take place. The final use case, I think, that I know Discord has really worked to death in a really good way is getting customer feedback on what to do next. That product feedback mechanism, no matter what level of product you're talking about, whether it's a service or a thing that you sell or a software service, your customers can tell you the gaps that you have that you may not be aware of, and they can tell you what their context is that you may not really fully understand. And I think when you sit on the other side, on the business side, it's very easy to lose perspective about what your customers are really struggling with. And that aspect of feedback is so important to building a business. So let's talk about what you did to get there.
Sure.
These are sort of the three pillars about how you get a community off the ground. Be a good host, empower super users, and celebrate wins. And so I don't want to dwell on that. I want to let Danny really tell you how they did it.
So being a good host, actually, we've tried several things, right? So you might think it might be really hard, but it's really easy to market. So the first couple of things we've tried and experimented with was just like low-hanging fruit items. So redirecting users to community pages with changelogs and updates, and each time we do an update, we do it with user delight. We're like, hey guys, we listened to you. Here's a feature. If you want to let us know about more things, here's the feedback site for us. We've also tried linking it in our marketing headers and our support headers to market it a lot more. And as well as, and this is easy, is because we added it to our agent signatures so that anybody that we're supporting knows where to go for like real-time support or even just to reach out to us in general.
So we're trying to add features that support that. So one of the things that you could do with community, with your communities is to segment them into very specific topics. You can also choose to have one larger gather community with the topics separated. So you can really make it match the audience that you have and thereby be a good host and invite people in. The second thing I want to talk about is the power of moderators, because they're really your proxy. They're people who really care about your business and care about the product that you make, and they're willing to do stuff on your behalf because they're experts. How did you cultivate moderators? How do you get those super users really engaged?
So moderators are very essential to building just about any community. We see it all over Discord, and especially for our Zendesk side. They are the ones that are making sure that spam isn't apparent all over your platform. They're making sure that people are getting help and are acting as subject matter experts when other people have questions when you're not around as well. And we've harnessed that power, and having the moderators there just makes it feel more authentic. So find the people that are part of your community that are highly engaged and empowered to help others. And you know what? For them, it's not about monetary things. It's more about the prestige of being a mod for a product that they love and helping to influence the vision of that product.
Yeah, it's amazing when you engage people this way and you allow them to be experts by kind of anointing them as moderators. They will really take that up and engage the community of users that they're working with. It's a very powerful mechanism, and we have some new features to really help support that. What about getting the right people and really cultivating the right conversations? How do you go about that?
Yeah, so this starts from the root of the company, right? So people care about transparency, they care about openness, they care about honesty. If you're bullshit, sorry, lack of a better word, if you're BSing, what you're sharing with the community, you're getting what you put into it out. So getting everyone involved from product to engineering is very important to share with the community. Like, if you're afraid of false promises and whatnot, you can be honest with them and say, hey, you know what? This is the reason why we're not doing this, or this is the reason why we think this is a great idea. It goes a long way in building that brand loyalty and having a voice for users to know that you are actively listening to them as well.
It's an incredible statistic that you have there. 45% of things that came up in the community they were able to implement. And Zendesk, we do a similar thing. I don't know that we could claim 45%. We're probably on a different scale a bit, but we take that feedback from our community as well as really important input to the roadmap. And it's something that really helps keep the business aligned with reality, with the market, and with what our customers are really asking for. Super, super important to sort of acknowledge that feedback and then really take it on board. You really act on it. Don't just sort of acknowledge it and do nothing unless you can't.
And I like to add to that, pretty much our product team loves what we're doing on this side, right? So every release that they have, it's a win-win situation because not only do they kind of figure out what the adoption rate of a feature they're going to push out is, but they know that they are wowing our customers as well. So the features that they push out, generally they're already going to have positive sentiment because you already have that inkling there of like, well, you know what, people ask for this, let's give it to them. So they're going to for sure utilize it.
So probably a lot of the folks here listening to you are thinking, yeah, but it's a lot of work. Community is a lot of work. I don't know if I could take that on. What's your advice? Like, does it pay you to make that investment?
It is well worth the investment. Just think about all the people that are going to be writing into you regardless. Having a platform for them to talk amongst each other and talk about, hey, you know what? There's a problem here. Let me help you out. It actually saves you a lot of time and effort in doing that, right? So that, one, they're not going to be contacting support anymore, and two, they know where to go to actually get real-time help instead of even if your SLAs are like 1 hour first reply times, they almost get that immediately in real time. And it just builds that sense of community where people know to go there first.
So it really is the third leg of that self-service stool where you have the one-to-one agent support, which will never go away. You've got one-to-many with guide and articles, and so people can help themselves. And then you have this third way through Gather that people can come together and answer each other's questions. And that's what we're calling many-to-many support. I think we've seen with Discord's use case how important it can be for the health of your business and for your ability to really take your support to the next level. So I want to thank Danny very much. Really appreciate all of your discussion with us. Really, really helpful. And thank you all.